Cepher of the prophet Baruch, Sheniy, also called the second book of the prophet Baruch, also known as the Apocalypse of Baruch. Chapter 1. And it came to pass in the 25th year of Yechanyahu, king of Yehudah, that the word of Yahuwah came to Baruch, the son of Neriyahu, and said to him, Have you seen all that this people are doing to me? That the evils which these 2 tribes which remained have done are greater than those of the 10 tribes which were carried away captive? For the former tribes were forced by their kings to commit sin, but these 2 of themselves have been forcing and compelling their kings to commit sin. For this reason, behold, I bring evil upon this city and upon its inhabitants, and it shall be removed from before me for a time. And I will scatter this people among the other nations, that they may do good to the other nations. And my people shall be chastened, and the time shall come when they will seek for the prosperity of their times. Chapter 2. For I have said these things to you, that you may bid Jeremiah, and all those that are like you, to retire from this city. For your works are to this city as a firm pillar, and your prayers as a strong wall. Chapter 3. And I said, O Yahuwah, my Adonai, have I come into the world for this purpose, that I might see the evils of my mother? Not so, my Adonai. If I have found favor in your sight, first take my Ruach, spirit, that I may go to my fathers, and not behold the destruction of my mother. For 2 things vehemently constrain me, for I cannot resist you, and my being, moreover, cannot behold the evils of my mother. But one thing I will say in your presence, O Yahuwah. What, therefore, will there be after these things? For if you destroy your city and deliver up your land to those that hate us, how shall the name of Yasharal be again remembered? Or how shall one speak of your praises? Or to whom shall that which is in your Torah be explained? Or shall the world return to its nature of aforetime, and the age revert to primeval silence? And shall the multitude of beings, souls, be taken away, and the nature of man not again be named? And where is all that which you did say to Moshe regarding us? Chapter 4. And Yahuwah said unto me, This city shall be delivered up for a time, and the people shall be chastened during a time, and the world will not be given over to oblivion. Do you think that this is that city of which I said, On the palms of my hands have I graven you? This building, now built in your midst, is not that which is revealed with me, that which was prepared beforehand here from the time when I took counsel to make paradise and showed it to Adam before he sinned. But when he transgressed the commandment, it was removed from him, as also paradise. And after these things I showed it to my servant Abraham by night among the portions of the victims. And again also I showed it to Moshe on Mount Sinai, when I showed to him the likeness of the tabernacle and all its vessels. And now, behold, it is preserved with me, as also paradise. Go, therefore, and do as I command you. Chapter 5. And I answered and said, So then am I destined to grieve for Sion? For your enemies will come to this place and pollute your sanctuary, and lead your inheritance into captivity, and make themselves Adonai of those whom you have loved, and they will depart again to the place of their idols, and will boast before them. And what will you do for your great name? And Yahuwah said unto me, My name and my kavod, glory, are unto all eternity, and my judgment shall maintain its right in its own time. And you shall see with your eyes that the enemy will not overthrow Sion, nor shall they burn Jerusalem, but be the ministers of the judge for the time. But do go and do whatsoever I have said unto you. And I went and took Jeremiah and Adu and Siryahu and Yavish and Gadolyahu and all the honorable men of the people, and I led them to the valley of Kidron. And I narrated to them all that had been said to me. And they lifted up their voice, and they all wept. And we sat there and fasted until the evening. Chapter 6. And it came to pass on the morrow that, lo, the army of the Chassidim surrounded the city. And at the time of the evening, I, Baruch, left the people, and I went forth and stood by the oak. And I was grieving over Sion, and lamenting over the captivity which had come upon the people. And lo, suddenly a strong Ruach spirit raised me, and bore me aloft over the wall of Jerusalem. And I beheld, and lo, 4 Malachim, standing at the 4 corners of the city, each of them holding a torch of fire in his hands. And another Malach began to descend from Shamayim, and said unto them, Hold your lamps, and do not light them till I tell you. For I am first sent to speak a word to the earth, and to place in it what Yahuwah Sabaoth of hosts has commanded me. And I saw him descend into the Kodesh Holy of Holies, and take from thence the veil, and the Kodesh ark, and the mercy seat, and the 2 tables, and the Kodesh raiment of the priests, and the altar of incense, and the 48 precious stones wherewith the priest was adorned, and all the Kodesh vessels of the tabernacle. And he spoke to the earth with a loud voice, Earth, 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 hear the word of Elohim, and receive what I commit to you, and guard them until the last times, so that when you are ordered, you may restore them, so that strangers may not get possession of them. For the time comes when Jerusalem also will be delivered for a time, until it is said that it is again restored forever. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up. Chapter 7. And after these things I heard that angel, Malach, saying unto those Malachim, angels who held the lamps, Destroy therefore and overthrow its wall to its foundations, lest the enemy should boast and say, We have overthrown the wall of Sion, and we have burnt the place of Elohim. And ye have seized the place where I had been standing before. Chapter 8. Now the Malachim did as he had commanded them, and when they had broken up the corners of the walls, a voice was heard from the interior of the temple, after the wall had fallen, saying, Enter, ye enemies, and come, ye adversaries, for he who kept the house has forsaken it. And I, Baruch, departed. And it came to pass, after these things, that the army of the Chassidim entered and seized the house and all that was around it. And they led the people away captive, and slew some of them, and bound Sidkiyahu, the king, and sent him to the king of Babel. Chapter 9. And I, Baruch, came, and Yirmiyahu, whose heart was found pure from sins, who had not been captured in the seizure of the city. And we rent our garments, we wept and mourned and fasted 7 days. Chapter 10. And it came to pass after 7 days that the word of Elohim came to me and said unto me, Tell Yirmiyahu to go and support the captivity of the people unto Babel. But do remain here amidst the desolation of Sion, and I will show to you after these days what will befall at the end of days. And I said to Yirmiyahu, as Yahuwah commanded me. And he indeed departed with the people, but I, Baruch, returned and sat before the gates of the temple, and I lamented with the following lamentation over Sion, and said, Baruch, blessed is he who was not born, or he who, having been born, has died. But as for us who live, woe unto us, because we see the afflictions of Sion, and what has befallen Yerushalayim. I will call the sirens from the sea, and ye lilting, come ye from the desert, and ye Shedim, and dragons from the forest. Awake and gird up your loins unto morning, and take up with me the dirges, and make lamentation with me. Ye husbandmen, sow not again, and O earth, wherefore give you your harvest? Fruits, keep within you the sweets of your sustenance, and you vine, why further do you give your wine? For an offering will not again be made therefrom in Sion, nor will the first fruits again be offered. And do ye, O Shamaimoth, withhold your dew, and open not the treasuries of rain. And do, O sun, withhold the light of your rays. And do, O moon, extinguish the multitude of your light. For why should light rise again, where the light of Sion is darkened? And you, ye bridegrooms, enter not in, and let not the brides adorn themselves with garlands. And ye women, pray not that ye may bear. For the barren shall above all rejoice, and those who have no sons shall be glad, and those who have sons shall have anguish. For why should they bear in pain, only to bury in grief? Or why again should mankind have sons? Or why should the seed of their kind again be named, where this mother is desolate, and her sons are led into captivity? From this time forward, speak not of beauty, and discourse not of gracefulness. Moreover, ye priests, take ye the keys of the sanctuary, and cast them into the height of Shamayim, and give them to Yahuwah, and say, Guard your house yourself, for lo, we are found false stewards. And you, ye virgins, who weave fine linen and silk with gold of Ophir, take with haste all these things, and cast them into the fire, that it may bear them to him who made them, and the flames send them to him who created them, lest the enemy get possession of them. Chapter 11. Moreover, I, Baruch, say this against you, Babel. If you had prospered, and Sion had dwelt in their glory, kavod, yet the grief to us had been great that you should be equal to Sion. But now, lo, the grief is infinite, and the lamentation measureless. For lo, you are prospered, and Sion is desolate. Who will be judge regarding these things? Or to whom shall we complain regarding that which has befallen us? O Yahuwah, how have you borne it? Our fathers went to rest without grief, and lo, the righteous sleep in the earth in tranquility. For they knew not of this anguish, nor yet had they heard of that which had befallen us. Would that you had ears, O earth, and that you had a heart, O dust, that ye might go and announce in Sheol, and say to the dead, Baruch are ye, more than we who live. Chapter 12. But I will say this as I think, and I will speak against you, O land, which are prospering. The noonday does not always burn, nor do the rays of the sun constantly give light. Do not expect and hope that you will always be prosperous and rejoicing, and be not greatly uplifted and boastful. For assuredly in its own season shall the divine wrath awake against you, which now in long suffering is held in, as it were, by rains. And when I had said these things, I fasted 7 days. Chapter 13. And it came to pass after these things that I, Baruch, was standing upon Mount Sion, and lo, a voice came from the height, and said unto me, Stand upon your feet, Baruch, and hear the word of Elohim, because you have been astonished at what has befallen Sion. You shall therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation of the times, that you may be for a testimony, so that if ever those prosperous cities say, Why has Elohim brought upon us this retribution? Say unto them, You and those like you who shall have seen this evil. This is the evil and retribution which is coming upon you and upon your people in its destined time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten, and then they shall be in anguish. And if they say at that time, For how long? You will say to them, Ye who have drunk the strained wine, drink ye also of its dregs, the judgment of the lofty one, who has no respect of persons. On this account he had aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they sinned. Then therefore were they chastened, that they might be sanctified. But now, ye peoples and nations, ye are guilty, because ye have always trodden down the earth, and used the creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you, and ye have always been ungrateful for the benefits. Chapter 14. And I answered and said, Lo, you have shown me the method of the times, and that which shall alter these things. And you have said unto me that the retribution which has been spoken of by you shall come upon the nations. And now I know that those who have sinned are many, and they have lived in prosperity and departed from the world, but that few nations will be left in those times, to whom these words shall be said which you did say. For what advantage is there in this, or what evil, worse than what we have seen befall us? are we to expect to see? But again, I will speak in your presence. What have they profited who had knowledge before you, and have not walked in vanity as the rest of the nations, and have not said to the dead, give us life, but always feared you, and have not left your ways? And lo, they have been carried off, nor on their account have you had mercy on Sion. And if others did evil, it was due to Sion, that on account of the works of those who wrought good works, she should be forgiven, and should not be overwhelmed on account of the works of those who wrought unrighteousness. But who, O Yahuwah, my Adonai, will comprehend your judgment? Or who will search out the profoundness of your way? Or who will think out of the weight of your path? Or who will be able to think out your incomprehensible counsel? Or who of those that are born has ever found the beginning or end of your wisdom? For we have all been made like a breath. For as the breath ascends involuntarily and again dies, so it is with the nature of men, who depart not according to their own will, and know not what will befall them in the end. For the righteous justly hope for the end, and without fear depart from this habitation, because they have with you a store of works preserved in treasuries. On this account also these without fear leave this world, and trusting with joy they hope to receive the world which you have promised them. But as for us, woe to us, who are also shamefully entreated, and at that time look forward only to evils. But you know accurately what you have done by means of your servants, for we are not able to understand that which is good, as you are our Creator. But again I will speak in your presence, O Yahuwah, my Adonai. When of old there was no world within its inhabitants, you did devise and speak with a word, and forthwith the works of creation stood before you. And you did say that you would make for your world man as the administrator of your works, that it might be known that he was by no means made on account of the world, but the world on account of him. And now I see that as for the world which was made on account of us, lo, it abides, but we on account of whom it was made depart. Chapter 15. And Yahuwah answered and said unto me, you are rightly astonished regarding the departure of man, but you have not judged well regarding the evils which befall those who sin. And as regards what you have said, that the righteous are carried off and the impious are prospered, and as regards what you have said, man knows not your judgment. On this account, hear, and I will speak to you, and hearken, and I will cause you to hear my words. Man would not rightly have understood my judgment, unless he had accepted the Torah, and I had instructed him in understanding. But now, because he transgressed wittingly, yea, just on this ground, that he knows thereof, he shall be tormented. And as regards what you did say touching the righteous, that on account of them has this world come, so also again shall that which is to come on their account. For this world is to them a strife and a labor with much trouble, and that accordingly which is to come, a crown with great kavod. Chapter 16. And I answered and said, O Yahuwah, my Adonai, Lo, the years of this time are few and evil, and who is able in his little time to acquire that which is measureless? Chapter 17. And Yahuwah answered and said unto me, with El Shaddai, account is not taken of much time, nor of a few years. For what did it profit Adam that he lived 930 years, and transgressed that which he was commanded? Therefore the multitude of time that he lived did not profit him, but brought death, and cut off the years of those who were born from him. Or wherein did Moshe suffer loss, in that he lived only 120 years, and inasmuch he was subject to him who formed him, brought the Torah to the seed of Yaakov, and lighted a lamp for the nation of Yasharah? Chapter 18. And I answered and said, he that lighted has taken from the light, and there are but few that have imitated him. But those many whom he has lighted have taken from the darkness of Adam, and have not rejoiced in the light of the lamp. Chapter 19. And he answered and said unto me, wherefore at that time he appointed for them a covenant, and said, behold, I have placed before you life and death. And he called Sheniy and earth to witness against them. For he knew that his time was but short, but the Sheniy and earth endure always. But after his death they sinned and transgressed, though they knew that they had the Torah, reproving them, and the light in which nothing could err. Also the spheres which testify, and me. Now regarding everything that is, it is I that judge, but do not take counsel in your being regarding these things, nor afflict yourself because of those which have been. For now it is the consummation of time that should be considered, whether of business, or of prosperity, or of shame, and not the beginning thereof. Because if a man be prospered in his beginnings, and shamefully entreated in his old age, he forgets all the prosperity that he had. And again, if a man is shamefully entreated in his beginnings, and at his end is prospered, he remembers not again his evil treatment. And again, hearken, though each one had prospered all the time from the day on which death was decreed against those who transgress, and in his end was destroyed, in vain would have been everything. Chapter 20. Therefore, behold, the days come, and the times shall hasten more than the former, and the seasons shall speed on more than those that are past, and the years shall pass more quickly than the present years. Therefore have I now taken away Sion, that I may the more speedily visit the world in its season. Now therefore hold fast in your heart everything that I command you, and seal it in the recesses of your mind. And then I will show you the judgment of my might, and my ways which are unsearchable. Go therefore and sanctify yourself 7 days, and eat no bread, nor drink water, nor speak to anyone. And afterwards come to that place, and I will reveal myself to you, and speak true things with you. And I will give you commandment regarding the method of the times, for they are coming, and tarry not.